Hi, everyone. It's September 23rd. We are doing a second session on Intro to Cruising. If you're watching this video or if you haven't been to the first one, I highly recommend that you visit that one and then continue with this one. So again, Intro to Cruising Part 2. We stopped pretty much at insurance. We talked about insurance, supplier insurance, regular, cruise line insurance, or third-party insurance. The next thing on my list was actually the excursions, which are really similar to the insurance. You either have the option to book your excursion with the cruise line, or you can book it with a third party. The cruise lines have some sort of a scare tactics, which they will tell clients, we guarantee that you will be back on the ship. And they're correct, but in my 22-year experience, I've almost never seen a company that is selling excursions that will miss the ship. If the ship is supposed to leave at 5, they will put you at the port at 3. If you're doing something on your own and a private guide or something, maybe. But if it's an organized group excursion with a third party, I have never seen any. Just think about it. If this is their business and you're going to miss the cruise, then it's on them. The company will limitly, no one's going to book with them. Now, why would we promote a third party cruise excursions? Normally they're cheaper and they are commissionable. Most of the cruise lines, except for MSC, will not offer commission on excursions. Some will allow excursions in a group, will give you commission on excursions in a group, but as a general rule, no commission on excursions unless you book a third party. There are some companies out there, for example, Shore Excursion Group. You can put your client itinerary, so you'll tell them Virgin Voyages lady for November 11th. It will pop up. It will already populate the itinerary that they're going to. It's going to send them an email with all the tours that are available. They can book. You get a confirmation email. All you need is just to submit or register your sale with your host, or add it to your list. But they make it really easy to book. So I would highly recommend that you look into it as an option. The people that you see on YouTube that are missing the boats and stuff like that, 99% of them are people who just went on their own, went shopping, didn't notice the time, maybe rented a car and had a flat tire. But people with excursions, with third-party excursions, they don't miss the ship. It just doesn't happen. I'm telling you, with thousands and thousands of bookings, it just doesn't happen. They will get you to the ship. We were in Italy one time and we did something on our own with a private tour, and there was something with the bus that took the time. First of all, you do have the number of the ship, so you can call the ship and let them know. Remember, when they say all aboard, when they say 6 p.m. the ship leaves, they tell you 5 p.m. all aboard. So they take a buffer of about an hour, and then they will wait for maybe 30 minutes. And you can call them if something happens. But yeah, beyond that, the ship won't wait. You just got to make sure that you do arrive on time. Again, last time to get on the ship, I would highly recommend that will be an hour before the ship's supposed to leave. And you do have the option to, to call them or something if something does happen, but it shouldn't. Okay, so excursions, again, to take a look and see if it's something that the cruise lines, you're booking with the cruise lines. People can book them on their own. They can go on the portal and they can do their own booking. If there's a promotion of excursions, they can use their onboard credit, or whatever. If Norwegian is offering $50 off for shore excursions, they'll have to book it directly. That you can't go through a third party. Something that I don't think I spoke about is the NCF in the fare, right? Cruises are considered highly profitable, I would say, but they do have a portion that is an NCF from the fare. So if the cruise, it's, let's say, for example, $3,000, you do have the port fees and taxes, which they're not commissionable. And there is a portion that is called the NCF, non-commissionable fare. It's a portion that you just don't get commission on. Why? Because they can, right? So it's kind of like taxes. So something that you should be aware of. Some companies like Norwegian have a very, very high NCF. Some companies like Virgin Voyages do not have any NCFs. MSC almost doesn't have any NCF. So same price with Norwegian, Carnival, Royal, MSC, Virgin is going to give you different commissions, even if you're at the 15, 16% commission. So always compare that and then know what they're talking about when they say NCFs. If you are with TPI for the month of August, September, and I think October as well, we get commissions on the NCFs as well. So it's good. I know they're trying to, because their NCFs are like super high. So I'm glad they're doing
that. Bookings made in those months, or
yes,
for sailings. Okay, thank you.
Cruising made, yeah. Okay, so more FAQs normally from from clients, what they're asking and what you should recommend your clients, right? So arrival day or embarkation day, right? The day that you get on the ship. Ships normally tend to leave around 4, some leave around 7, but most of them are around 3, 4, 5 p.m. Right now with COVID, when they check in, they get a time frame of when to get on the ship. It's a 30-minute, 1-hour window that they'll get to go on the ship. So I highly recommend to people, once they pay in full, start the checking process. Some will allow only 60 days prior or 30 days prior to, but when it is allowed, go ahead and start the checking process. Checking process works best normally on the cruise lines app versus the website. You can take a picture, upload a photo of your passport, of yourself, the security. So when you get to the port, you technically almost don't need to do anything, and then it's really fast. And then you pick the time to get on the ship. Normally it starts around 10, 11 a.m. and then you can get on the ship. I highly recommend for clients to get to the cruise port one night before. So if they are flying in, let's say I'm in New York and they are cruising from Florida or from Barcelona or from Hawaii, highly recommend for the clients to arrive one night before or one day before. If they're thinking about doing a pre or a post, I highly recommend doing a pre. Arriving a couple of days before, don't do a pre and a post. So if you're thinking of visiting Barcelona or do Disney or whatever, do 3 nights prior to the cruise, because you do need to be in that area one day before. If you arrive same day and the flight is delayed, your luggage did not arrive, something happened, the ship won't wait. All right, if you are arriving that day of, I highly recommend that you take the first flight out. First flight out, the plane should be already there. You're not waiting for anyone. Likelihood that the first flight of the day will leave from the airport. So yeah, that's an option. Again, if they land at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., their boarding time is 11. They'll have to just wait either at the airport or at the port. But again, if possible, highly recommend, no stress, arriving the night before. Sometimes these flights are pretty cheap. Get an airport hotel and something with a free transfer from the airport to the hotel. Be there at 10, 11 p.m. Rest, wake up at 10 in the morning, have breakfast, and then head to the ship. That's my recommendation. That's what I normally do when I travel with my family. When I travel alone, I travel same day, but that's less variables when you're traveling alone. Now, debarkation. So the last day, right? The last day before when the cruise leaves, ship normally arrives around 6, 7 a.m. Ship needs to clear customs and immigration. Sometimes it will take time. Sometimes there were issues throughout the cruise, something happened. There's sometimes inspections by customs, agriculture. Maybe something happened. Maybe police will come because there was an incident. So there are many, many delays. Even if the ship says 6 a.m. departure, you might not be able to get off the ship before, 8, 9, 10 a.m. It's not common for 10, but mostly around 8. And then remember, you have to get off the ship with a few thousand people and clear immigrations, custom, take your luggage, and then head to the airport and then take a flight. So we highly recommend for people to leave around 12 noon, nothing before. Again, really depends on the people. If they have status, if the airport is really close, if they're going to walk out, and we're going to talk about the walking out and the luggage in a second, it might be possible. But for people who are not well travelers, 12 p.m. and on, it's good. There are some excursions, some tours that will pick you up from the port. You'll do something and then you'll end up at the airport. So you can do kind of like a short post. You get to see the city, and then it's a transfer, and then you can take like a 4 p.m. flight. They normally tend to be even cheaper because the flights that leave around 11, 12, 1 p.m. are the ones that everyone takes. They tend to be more popular and more expensive. So the de-embarkation process, the way that it works and what you should advise your clients, actually with the arrival as well. So let's start again with the arrival. When people get on the ship, they can check the bags. There is no limit of the amount of bags that people can check. If they want to bring 10 suitcases, they can technically, but people can bring 1, 2. There's no fee. They can take a carry-on as well. They can bring stuff with them. Remember that the luggage that you put and check in, you will only see around 4 p.m. that day. So if you arrive and you board the ship at 11 a.m., you need to have things for the next 3-4 hours. Sometimes you're lucky and you'll get your luggage, but sometimes it will have to wait a little bit. So I tell people to bring a backpack, not even a carry-on, like a backpack, and pack stuff that they need for the first few hours. If you came from a cold area to a warm area, put your bathing suit, put some stuff that you can change, because you might not see your luggage, and you don't want to take a carry-on with the wheels, because you have to take it along with you the entire way. It's not convenient. There are rules in terms of what you can bring on the ship. Most questions are regarding alcohol. Almost all the cruise lines do not allow any alcohol on the ship. Some will allow you to bring a bottle of wine or champagne, something like that. Some will allow sodas. Some will allow water, but there's some that won't allow anything. So just follow the guidelines, or double check what the cruise lines that they're going to is offering. Some that are not allowing any, like water even, you'll be able to sell water for really cheap to wait in the room. But yeah, and in most cases, if you are bringing something like that, like bottles of wine or sodas or water, you want to take it in your carry-on. That's the advisement. I've seen a lot of people put it in their checked bag and just sending it out, and no issues whatsoever. But the rules say that you have to carry it with you. So they don't want the bell people to just, because if you're putting so much stuff in and it's heavy, it's just, they don't want it in there. And then if something breaks, it's, your whole suitcase is going to be wet. So that's what they recommend. And again, when you give your luggage to the bell people, they expect a tip. So, $5 for 2 suitcases is more than enough. But they expect it. It's not, you don't have to, but they will wait, and they will look at you, and they will want a tip. So just know. Now, when you are leaving the ship, the embarkation, the clients will get a note in their stateroom saying when they have to take the luggage out the night before. They tell you to pack everything and put everything outside of your room around 8, 10, 2 a.m. depends on the ship. They will give you a boarding group. You will have like a number or a color when you will be called. You'll put everything outside, and again, that's where your carry-on or backpack goes, because you wanna keep your clothes for the next day. Play something where you can put your your sleepwear and maybe your toothbrush and whatever you need for the next day. Put your charger, put everything in there, stuff that you're still going to need, and take it with you. The rest you just put outside of your room. You do have the option not to use that, and then you can do what they call the carry out. You can walk out, you can take your suitcases with you and walk off the ship. If you do a walk off, then you can probably be within the first group that leaves. Normally these are suites and people with high status with the cruise lines, they get to go on the first groups. But if you are not taking any, like you are taking your own luggage, let's say you're stressed and you booked a flight for 10 a.m. because that was whatever was available, I highly recommend that they walk themselves. They go to breakfast early, and then as soon as the first group is called, take your luggage with you and just get off the ship. So it's possible. It will save you time, but again, you'll have to walk with it. Arrival day and departure days are really busy. Everyone is doing the same thing. Everyone's going to the same place. The elevators are crowded. Everything's crowded. So just so they'll know. Okay. So cruises in general, the itinerary that goes, if it's a Caribbean cruise, for example, or a Med cruise, the itinerary is pretty straightforward. It's around. So if you start in Miami, you're going to finish. It's called a closed loop cruise. Normally they'll do like an Eastern Caribbean, Western Caribbean. The itineraries just rotate week by week, but they're pretty much the same. There are, again, exceptions, what we call the repositioning cruises. So ships, for example, tend to go to Europe over summer and then come back. They go to Alaska for the summer and then come back. It depends. They rotate around the year because, in Alaska, there are no cruises over the winter most of the time. Most of the cruise lines don't operate in Alaska in the winter, same as in Europe. So there is something that's called a repositioning cruise. It will, let's say, Wonder of the Seas, right? Royal Caribbean's new ship, and the Prima, actually, from the back. It was in Iceland. It was inaugurated and debuted in Iceland. They did a few cruises. They did a few cruises in Portugal, and now the ship is actually heading to the US. So they have a repositioning from Iceland and Portugal to New York. It's going to do like a 14-day cruise. It's going to stop in New York, and then gradually it's going to reposition in Orlando because that's its home base, and same for Wonder of the Seas. Wonder is coming October 30th on a 14-night cruise. I know it because I just booked clients on it. These cruises are long. They're transatlantic. I would say they're for advanced because you're going to have like 5, 6, 7 straight days at sea. If you note, there are some regarding COVID, there are different procedures for transatlantic, trans-Pacific cruises. So check the policies again, even if you think it's allowed. Royal Caribbean just changed their policy. 5 and up need to be vaccinated. So you'll need to know that. So repositioning transatlantic cruises have different policies, but also they are very cheap because they are not as popular. People don't want to take a long cruise that starts in Barcelona and ends in Orlando, right? It's just not, then they'll have to fly back. To some, it's really attractive. To some, it's not. And for the most part, it's a cheap option, a cheap cruise, and then a chance to get you to somewhere else. Always take a look at things. For some, it's interesting. You'll see a lot of New York to Puerto Rico. You'll see a lot Europe and New York and stuff like that. It's interesting. And again, this is not a closed loop cruise. Everyone will need a passport. On the ship itself, we have a lot of questions regarding room service. It tends to change from cruise line to cruise line, but in general, some cruise lines include room service throughout the day. Some charge a fee, a flat fee, $5, $7, and then you can just order whatever you want on the menu. Just pay a flat fee of $5, $7. Some only charge it at night, and some do a la carte. So every item is going to cost like $1, $2, whatever. You want a burger, it's $2. You want chips, it's $1. So some will do a la carte. Almost all cruise lines will offer breakfast, not like continental breakfast, so no warm eggs or anything, but croissants, coffee, stuff like that you can take on your balcony and just have free continental breakfast. There is no fee to it. That's pretty much all cruise lines. That's what's left, because at the beginning everyone had free room service. Gradually right now they're just making it for a fee, so whatever's left is the breakfast. Some, or mostly the higher end cruise lines, still offer free throughout the day. The flat fee is popular again, and the a la carte is just things that are coming out right now. Someone was also asking about internet on the ship. It was recently on the news that Elon Musk SpaceX satellites are going to be used for satellite internet. Royal Caribbean Group has purchased the service, so their internet is supposed to be faster and better, and it's supposed to start real soon. If you don't have internet on the ship, if you don't have a package with the cruise lines, you won't have internet. Cruise lines do have their own intranet, so an internal internet that operates their app. So you can have the app, you can book shows, restaurants. In most of them, you can communicate with one another through their app, but you won't have actual internet. You can't Google, post, social media, stream, or anything unless you purchase a package. The packages are normally purchased similar to a beverage package. Once you book it, it's to the end of the cruise. And for the most part, you can only purchase them on day 1 or day 2. A tip that I tell my clients if they want to save money on the package, first day, because the ship leaves around maybe 4 or 5, by the time the ship actually leaves the port, they're still close to the US, so there's still reception. They will start losing internet around 7, 8 p.m. If they want to purchase the internet on the second day, even after midnight, it doesn't count as the first day. So let's say it's $15 per person per day. And if you purchase it at the beginning of the second day, you will save that first day. You won't have internet, but you will have internet until, maybe like 7 p.m. from the cell towers. Any package that you're going to purchase from your carrier, any hotspot that you have, will not work on the ship. They will work at ports. When you stop at ports, even on their private islands, you will get cell service. But while on the ship, while at sea, maybe even if you sit in the theater because of or in your room, even and the door is closed because of all the metal, you might not get cell service at all, even at the port. You might have to like open a door, or step out to your balcony to actually get decent service because of all the metal that the ship has. Any questions? Anything, Michelle? Anything?
No questions on this so far. But
Okay.
I thought that was a good tip about the internet, like at least saving some money from that first day.
Yeah, if they want to, again, for internet, in terms of tips, you can, if you need more than one device, it's cheaper normally to buy 2 devices per person. So if you have 2 people traveling and they each purchase 1 device versus one person purchasing 2 devices, it's going to be cheaper for the one person to get multiple. So if you're traveling with a family and everyone wants internet, it's best for one person to buy a package that offers 4 devices versus each one purchasing. Remember that these are, let's say, 1 device at a time. So if you have a family of 3 and you purchase 2, The third person can still use it, but the first one needs to disconnect. So it's a device at a time. You can log off and then have someone else connect if you don't need to be online all the time. And in terms of types of internet, they do have something that is called a surf and something that is called a surf and stream. Surf is just, go on the internet, maybe social media, stuff like that. The stream, if you want to watch Netflix or Zoom or YouTube or whatever, you will need to get the stream. Remember that even with the stream, your internet at home is going to be a lot faster. Maybe with the new internet from the satellites for the SpaceX, it's going to be better, but the best internet at sea that I've tried is still much slower than you will have it at home. And it's going to cost you a lot of money. Internet for a week is going to cost you more than almost 6 months at home. So only purchase if you actually need it. I don't think I spoke about the tour credit, the tour conductor, TCs.
No,
I don't think I have. Okay, so TCs, tour conductor, is a term with groups. The way that most cruise lines do, if you purchase enough cabins, let's say 8 cabins, you will get 1 person free. So for every 16 people, right, 8 cabins, 16 people, every 16 people, you get 1 person. We call it a berth. Okay, berth. So every 16 berth, you get 1 free. It's not 1 room free for every 8 rooms. Okay, it's 1 person from within that 16 people. This is a promotion that has been given in groups in order to encourage what we call the tour leader to bring you work. So if you have someone who is the tour leader, he's the leader of the group, he's the Pied Piper, people who brings you people, you can tell them, look, for every 16 people that you're going to bring me, we are going to get 1 person free. We can use it as a discount towards the group. We can use it as a rebate towards the group, or you can actually go for free. Now, when I say you go for free, it's not really free. The TC is an average of everyone in the group. So if 10 people purchase inside and 10 people purchase balcony, you will get the average. So you will get, let's say, an ocean view, right? You won't. It's pretty much if 10 people paid $1,000 per person and 10 people paid $2,000 per person, you are going to get $1,500. And the amount that you are getting is the base price before taxes and before the NCFs, right? So people who are free still, well, actually, no, you do get the NCF. Sorry, you just don't get the taxes. So if someone is bringing you people, they go for free, they still need to pay the port fees and the taxes. TCs are normally not capped. So if your group is 100 people, you will get 8, 9, 10 TCs. You can use it as marketing. You can take it as commission. You can purchase GAP points with it. GAP is group amenity points. A lot of the groups have gaps. That's why we get these $50 onboard credit when you book a group, or $100 onboard credit. Most groups get a certain numbers, and then you can take that number and apply it. You get 4 points, for example. You can say, I'm going to give $25 onboard credit and a bottle of wine, which is 1 point. Chocolate covered strawberries is another point. So my group will get $25 onboard credit, 1 bottle of wine, 1 chocolate strawberries in the room. That's 4 points that I got. Okay. Okay. I mean, this was part 2, so I think I covered most of it. Again, unless you have any specific questions, even I know you had specific questions, and I can stop the recording, but anything else that you might want to know about?
I just to be clear, like after you book the cruise, like shore excursions that are booked through the airline, there's no commissions on that. I mean, I'm sorry, yeah, none if I book it directly through the airline, but if I use like another third party tour partner, I can earn commissions on that. If
Correct.
I book hotels, like let's say the client needs a flight. So what if I have to book hotel and flight? Is it better to book those through the cruise line or use a different?
Some cruise lines will offer a promotion. There's a lot of promotions now with air because they know a lot of agents are not very keen on booking air. So there's a lot of promotions on booking air. Sometimes it's, you know, free air or reduced air or something like that, and then you can book it with the cruise lines. I'm not a huge fan because they'll pick the airline and they pick everything. You can do a connection. They can get you. I mean, you can say, I want to leave the night before or 2 nights before. Even normally 2 nights is the max that they will allow you as a deviation. But and normally they will do a transfer either like from the hotel or from the airport to the port included, and on the way back, well, not included, they charge for it. Air in that specific situation won't be commissionable. In most cases, if you add a hotel, it depends. Some cruise lines will give you commission on the hotel portion, some will not. I can tell you that based on what we checked, the prices offered by the cruise lines for hotel are much higher than what you can get on your own. So,
Okay.
so if you want to book the flights, but I highly recommend that you book the hotel separately on your own with your preferred tour operator or something. Just 1 second.
Bless you. You're muted.
I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm saying that yeah, book the hotel yourself, and you could book the transfers or thing with them if you decide you want to. And excursions, look, it's up to you. I promoted heavily. I sell quite a bit of excursions. I never had any issues. Giving it to the cruise lines is a waste of, I mean, you're throwing away money. Like, I mean, if they, I would gladly sell them. If they offer commission, I would sell them, but I'm not gonna sell it if I'm not getting any commission from it. There is a thing that I think I said about the cruise lines being a very competitive market. If we're comparing it to an all-inclusive, when I spoke about all-inclusives in general, I said that the pricing is about the same everywhere. So if you see it on Orbitz, on Expedia, on FunJet, on Vacation Express, most of the time the prices are about the same. There is nothing major, there's no major difference except if it's maybe a promotion that one of the suppliers didn't update. Cruise lines are very different because it's group driven. We have a lot of agencies out there that are holding group space. We are holding a lot of group space as well. So our price, or Vacation to Go or cruise.com or a lot of the big boys out there, are going to have better pricing than the actual cruise line. If you are booking directly with the cruise lines, I have no idea what you're thinking. It makes no sense whatsoever to book with the cruise lines. Travel agent will almost always have a better price. But when in an all-inclusive world, when you see something that is cheaper that is provided online, because there's not really competition and everyone has access to the same prices, you can call the tour operator and ask the price match. This does not exist in cruises because a lot of agents out there are holding group space. You can't match their group pricing. So for the most part, for the space that you will have an advantage. But if you didn't take space and time, or you ran out of space, then you will be at a disadvantage. So it depends. That's why it's very, very group driven. The more space you have, the better advantage, and the earliest you book, the earlier you hold the space, the better the advantage is. If everyone is going to take around the same time, then it's an even, playing field. But for the most part, based on what I see, not everyone is really taking a lot of group space. So again, prices are significantly different if you go and check online. It's a very, very competitive market. There's websites out there like Cruise Compete, where people post, I want to cruise on August 10th, and then all the agencies are bidding for it. It's just a very, very competitive market. If you find your niche and you have group space, and maybe first-time cruisers, people that don't know a lot of it, you could be profitable. But people that are shopping around, it's a bit tough. In general, again, with prices, we talked about the fact that there is a deposit, and then deposit is normally refundable until final payment, which is about 90 days. If the price tends to go down before the 90 days, people might come to you and ask you to reprice, or there are tools out there specifically if you're with Signature. You can do like a cruise track. You can track the price. There is an option to put an alert on a specific cruise line and a date. And if the price changes, you will get a notification. It's called the cruise track. So, to take a look at Signature, if that's something that interests you, and you can get a notification if the price changes, goes up or down. And you can let your clients know about that. There was something and it just slipped my mind.
Like what I just saw recently, but that's just because of something I worked on this week, where the cruise line's current promotion was actually better than, like in this case, the TPI's group
advantage
price. Yeah,
was it Celebrity?
it was on Celebrity.
Yeah. Celebrity recently, most of Celebrity's promotions right now are not combinable with groups. So yes, I agree that the group pricing is not as good as it was a year ago or 6 months ago. Yeah, I agree with you completely.
But you said for like Norwegian or
yeah, with Norwegian, with
Caribbean,
Royal, with Princess, it doesn't happen. I haven't seen. Groups are almost always better priced. Norwegian has two types of groups. They have the affinity and the other types of groups, but the affinity groups are just way, way better. And they're cheaper. I've never seen a published price go lower than that.
Do we take out, we as in TPI take out group space, like on Princess and other cruise lines? I mostly just see Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, and Celebrity through a lot of our internal promotions.
Yeah, Princess has it as well. Their group pricing are not always the best, but the advantage with Princess is that no matter what you book, they will pull it directly into the group regardless. They normally use the group space as a perk for the group amenity points, for the $50 onboard credit, or for the stuff. Their group pricing is not so good and not really maintained, but anything that you will book will get automatically pulled into a group anyway. Carnival is mostly private groups, so you'll need to take your own space. We don't, TPI Signature doesn't hold space on Carnival, but you can if you want to, and there is a price advantage if you do it. A lot of agents do it on their own.
Okay.
So again, really depends on what it is that you are, what's your market, right? Yeah, some cruise lines don't even have groups, like Disney doesn't have groups at all. So yeah, depends on the company.
And then we don't take out group space on river cruises.
Not well, Signature has a few where it's either a hosted sailing, or again, some are you will find, but you'll have to look for them on the Signature website. They're not common, and mostly it's when they are hosted. So there's a host on it, but just remember that with Signature, for example, with river cruises, if you book like Uniworld or AMA, you are going to get like $200 onboard credit or $200 off. There are perks with booking these expensive products, like Uniworld and AMA and Viking is, it's expensive. So there are perks because you're part of Signature.
So when I'm thinking about like river cruising is different than ocean cruising. Like I shouldn't lump them all together.
No, that's why I talk when we're talking about ocean cruises. I will have a session about intro to river cruises. They are a completely different animal. I don't even I don't think there's anything similar besides the fact that you're technically cruising. You're technically on water. That's pretty much the only thing combined like that is even. Everything else is totally different.
Thank you.
But you've done a river cruise, right?
Yeah, I've done a few.
Okay. Yeah. And you've done ocean cruises or no?
Just one.
Okay. Well, totally different with everything. Okay, let me stop the recording.